you've just recently, after the announcement, you posted a status on your Facebook confessing that you almost left rugby. Why is that?
No, I mean 2 years or about 4 years ago, I just left the Bulls and I started at Tux, and things weren't going really well for me in my career at the time. So that was kind of a time where I started doubting myself whether I was good enough to play this game, whether I would ever get a contract at a union after leaving at the Bulls. And I think that's probably why, I got that feeling of almost stopping playing, because that time I was studying as well as a second year student as well in BCom Informatics, and always had the dream of owning my own company. So at that time specifically, I felt like I wasn't good enough for this game. I have to now start studying profusely and, start building my career as well outside of rugby, because things weren't working out for me. And then God opened the door for me to go to the Lions, and, things just started happening. And it was a snowball effect up until the day where I'm announced in the SAA squad at the moment. So yeah, God has been good, He's faithful, and, just keep on trusting Him and things will work out.
Would you say that is most challenges that young rugby school players face when they just leave high school and feel like they can't continue with the rugby professionally?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happened to me as well at the time. I only got seen in June, my year after school, because I never made any Cravenweed team, I never made any Como, I never made any academy team, none of that stuff, and I think that's one thing that a lot of guys struggle with and face when they just leave school and there's no opportunities for them to get signed at unions. I dealt with it, so I know exactly what they're going through, and I think that's where we're losing a lot of talent. And maybe someday we'll have a program or something that we can put in place to get those guys actually and get the exposure that they need so that they can actually make it somewhere.
What do you believe is the main contributor to the Lions' success for the past 2 years and specifically this year's Super Rugby session?
I think, everyone would say we work hard, but I would say, the leadership at the union, we've got guys that are very spiritual, we believe, and I think that's what actually sets us apart, is that we have the faith that we can achieve anything, and, God has just been faithful.
You seem very close to the Lion players, Elton, Lionel, and Howard. What do you guys have in common?
Yeah, no, we've actually journeyed for quite a while, and we spend a lot of time off the field as well together, because we share similar values, and obviously because we've journeyed a few years before as well. Before I came to the Lions, that's the guys that I'm really close with, but there aren't that many guys that I'm close with, guys like everyone Combrink, you don't see me posting a picture with him on Instagram or something because he doesn't like taking a lot of pictures. But, we are close as well, and guys like Warren Whiteley, Jaco Creel, Julian, there's guys that I spend a lot of time with. I mean, this is just naming a few of the guys, but, at the Lions, we're a family, we're all together, and, we actually spend time finding out about each other's lives, and, we really pay attention to each other like a real family should, and that's what the amazing thing is at the Lions.
Which rugby players have inspired you locally and intentionally?
Yeah, the guy that I've always looked up to is a guy like Brandon Banner. He's been my role model since I was a lightie. I had my whole wall and my door at the house in Cape Town, was full of posters of Brandon Banner. I used to run like him as well when I was in school, so he's the guy that I've always looked up to. And the amazing things that he's achieved in his career and in his life as well, you've never seen any bad media about him as well. So he's really an ambassador for rugby and for sportsmen alike. So yeah, he's an amazing role model for me.
Mm-hmm. What is Johan Ackermans like to be a coach, and what would he be bringing to the SAA team as a team coach?
The first thing about him is a man of faith. He's really a family man as well, so he really deals with players. He knows, like, he understands emotion, and all of that kind of stuff. And I think that's what makes him such an amazing coach, because you can relate to him, you can have a chat with him. He's got an open door policy, and that's one of the amazing things that I enjoy about him.
What has been your highlights so far in your career?
The highlights of my career, there are so many, but obviously to highlight one would be the announcement of the SAA squad, because that for me is like obviously the biggest achievement at this moment. So yeah, that's amazing.
Your next tour to Argentina, what are your expectations facing the Jaguars?
Well, I have to be selected for that game first, but yeah, should I be selected for the games, there's a few games before that as well. We have a week-by-week process. We don't know what we're going to do in that game. We'll see when it comes to that stage of the competition what we're planning to do. But for now, we're focusing on the SAA, and from there we'll go on to the first game that we're playing. And I don't even know who we're playing yet, but the first game after the break, we're playing against someone, and we'll plan for that.
And how was your experience on the tour to Japan earlier this season?
It was amazing. We were only there for about 4 or 5 days, so we didn't get to see much of the place, but it was so amazing to see how the rugby is growing in Japan. You know, people received us with open arms. We got a nice welcoming at the hotel. You know, people after the game, we had about 10 people waiting for us to get autographs and stuff like that. So we actually have support in Japan as well, and that made me realize, you know, how big of a sport rugby is actually becoming, and how big of a platform you have of influence around the world. I mean, you're coming to Japan, no one knows you. You think no one knows you, and now someone's waiting and asking you, "Hi, Courtnall, can I have an autograph? Can I take a picture with you?" So that's one of the most amazing things, and that's actually the highlight for me going to Japan, is seeing that, you know, we've got support there as well, you know. So that's actually how far rugby's traveling. It's going right to Japan in Tokyo.
And lastly, like any other players, you have negative comments. How do you handle that as a player?
Yeah, you know, it's tough. It's tough, you know, because if you're not mentally strong, you'll never be able to deal with it. I have to say I've got some good mentors in my life. You know, I've got people that keep me grounded and keep me strong, you know, and they pray for me and all of that. So I've got a lot of those people in my life, or not a lot, but I've got a lot of good people in my life, and that helps me a lot. I remember this one instance, like after the first game I played for the Lions against the Blues. People after the game say, "Yeah, who's this guy? He can't tackle to save his life. He can't do this. You must send him back to where he comes from. We don't want him here." And then just the game after that, I scored the winning try against the Reds. And then everyone's like, "Oh, you're my hero. You know, we love you." And that's the thing with rugby. It's a performance-based sport. You're always going to have to face critics, you know, the good and the bad. So you just have to make sure that you're able to deal with all of that, because it's part of the game. You just have to suck it up and go on.
We have a number of chippy boys who always aim to be part of the Lions. What would you say to them who are still playing school rugby?
Yeah, I would just say, keep on having the faith, you know, keep on believing, work harder than you've ever worked before, because that's the thing that's going to set you apart from the rest. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. Where your boys are going out drinking or having parties or worrying about girls, you're going to have to put in work, do mental prep, you know, spend time on your studies and all of that stuff. So I think it's just get the all-round picture of how you want to be when you're a professional rugby player and start doing that.